VSP is back again. So I got my little buddy here. Actually, I don't even know if it's my little buddy. For the price, we'll say it's my little buddy. Okay, so one day I walked into my local shop. And we've got 3 local shops, but there's one I deal with more so because they wheel and deal. You know what I mean? And I'm a businessman, so I wheel and deal on everything I own. Or buy, sorry. Walked in there. I needed a pair of rear speakers, and this was prior to getting a power amp. And I wanted something small and. I decided not even to get a power amp for the upstairs. And anyway, I bought them, and they were the JBL 250Bs. They're a spectacular little speaker. They're 6 ohms. So, I mean, you don't get a lot of power to the back 2 surround channels anyway, but they were a little bit better than my tiny little pokes. Anyway, I installed one. I let it sit there for a bit, and then I wanted to bring them in downstairs and do a break-in period. Anyway, how I do a break-in is I just hook them up to my NAD, and I just replay and replay. Like, I'll go 200-300 hours on my NAD, just low volume. Then at home or at night I'll turn up higher volume and lower volume. The NAD never really gets warm. It's a class D. Anyway, I never ended up moving those speakers anywhere. They've been sitting. They were like $500 Canadian. I didn't pay that, but that's what they were listed at. So I never really did anything with them. Because I hooked so much shit up to my NAD just to break them in if they're small, right? And I don't own a lot of small speakers. And I own, like, my surround speakers in my main, my main theater room are like Tower Klipsch. That's my rear speakers, Tower Klipsch. And I have that much power downstairs that I can actually, well, they can really rock you. I have to offset them a little bit. Just, they're a little bit sibilant, the horn speaker. I might change them out. I don't know. Been thinking about it. Anyway, JBL. When I went in to buy the JBLs, they gave me a demonstration on a JBL amplifier. And they sounded good enough. JBL builds the amplifier, JBL builds the little 250s, and Bob's your uncle. I bought them. I needed them until I didn't. And now I'm realizing that I do need them, and I want them, because I upgraded the amplifier upstairs to an RZ50. And the RZ50... as close in comparison to the Pioneer VSX 505, VSX LX 505, is quite something other than the year it was built, 2018 versus 2021. I think the RZ50 is the answer. I would never buy the RZ70. The RZ50 has plenty of power. And downstairs I use my Pioneer, which will be replaced with an RZ50 at some point, or a Integra, which is of the same family. Their Toyota to their Lexus model, let's call it. But they're expensive. The 8.4, oh my God, it's expensive. And I don't need the wattage. I just need the processing power. And there's no way in the world I'm going to go buy a processor. Like Marantz makes them. Like, I'm not paying Marantz tax. I'm not. Have I heard Marantz? Yes. Are they great? Yes. Are they what I need? No. I have integrated stereos that I listen to if I want to listen to music. For TV and movie and theater and stuff like that, Anthem, Marantz, Onkyo, they all work just great. They really do. Yeah, there's some with better features. Anyway, let's get back to this JBL stuff. Did I say shit? I meant stuff. So anyway, they got like KEF speakers. They're a cheaper line. They're not the fancy ones. They're not the $1 million ones. And then they got some pokes. And they're not the fancy R7s either. And then they got Soundstage. What else do they have? I don't know. I really don't pay attention to cheaper brands. What else did they have? Oh, they had some JBLs, which are the bigger of the 250Bs, which sound actually pretty good. They have the Klipsch 8000 Mark IIs, which are probably my favorite out of the whole line they have in the store. And that's probably why I own so many of them, for home theater purposes. And for integrated purposes too, actually. I've used them on my integrated and I love them. I love their dynamics. They're just something else, especially with an AKM DAC. Oh, God. It's like, well, it is music to your ears. I wasn't going to say it's like music to your ears. So anyway, I was listening to those 8000s and I was like, I remember it was the first time I was going to buy a pair, 8000 Mark IIs. And I was like, I hate that speaker. So I came home and I started YouTube and watching videos on how to fix this frickin' tweeter that's just screaming in your ear. So I walked back into the shop the next day and I said, hey, Manny, easy money, how's it going? Good, you? He says. I said, you do me a favor? He says, yeah. I said, let's play the same music off of this amp instead of that JBL amp. I just researched that JBL amp. I don't know about the implementation of the Class D. I don't know about it. I got a really good review from a British guy. And, I don't know. He gave me a different review than what I heard in the store. So I started questioning it. And not that he's not a good reviewer. He's a good reviewer. And he's way, way more high class than I'll ever be. But I was like, nah, I don't know, man. I don't believe that shit. So we switched it over to a 38 X3800 Denon. And I said, okay, let's play those Klipsch. Night and day. Night and day. Both Class D amplifiers. Night and day. Night and day. I looked at him and I said, order me a set of those 8000s in walnut. Just that easy. He looked and he says, really? Just by changing an amp? I said, well, listen to this piece of shit. So we listened to it and he goes, oh yeah, I can hear that. It's screaming in your ear. I said, now switch it to the Denon. Oh my God, it sounds different. You imagine if that was hooked up to a Class AB with an AKM chip, which it is now, plus a couple of R7 3s. Wow, I'll tell you right now. Don't get me wrong, it ain't no Macintosh speaker or whatever speaker you listen to, but they are my faves because of the dynamics and the absolute fun you can have with Klipsch. Are they the best? No. They are not the best. Anyway, Manny, the runner of the shop, brought 3 of the guys that work in home theater, and he asked me to demonstrate what I had just demonstrated. So the first thing I did is I asked everybody which one was their favorite speaker. One guy said the Kef was his. The other guy said that the Polk was his. And I said, well, Manny looks at me and he says, I think the Klipsch is. And I said, oh, did I just change your mind or something? Anyway, I had to laugh. I don't care. So anyway, we did a comparison between amps and speakers after we were done. And I didn't coerce these bastards either. These are just young kids and they're just listening with their ears in that room. And I played Ratchets by Hedegaard. And I played Make Us Stronger, which are 2 great test tracks. And then I played a little bit of Tool. I gave them 3 songs to listen to. Every one of them said Klipsch. So I was like, interesting. I said, you know what, Manny? You should open up those R7s, those R7 Pokes. We should get a real test going on here. Because those are supposed to be spectacular. He doesn't have the high-end Kefs, so I can't include those in my conversation. But anyway, JBL, what'd you do wrong with your amplifier? Should you go back to the drawing board? I don't know. I have some JBL stuff that I absolutely love. They are making some JBL stuff today that I absolutely love. I have a JBL t-shirt. James the Bull Lansing is the shit. And so is Paul Wilbur Klipsch, as far as I'm concerned, because those are the old guys in hi-fi before most of these guys that are doing it now even started. And they're still around, and that's great. But you gotta do something about the JBL Class D power amplification. Anyway, that's VSP, and I'm out. Now, well, I'm not out. For someone who's going to buy the whole JBL system for home theater system, and you're young, you're not going to know the difference. And it's the right price. So I would just do it. VSP out.